ahead and remove the lug nuts and then remove the wheel. Our particular wheel has custom lug nuts, so we're going to use our locking tool to remove these here. Once the lug nuts are removed, go ahead and grab the wheel, set it aside. Underneath the hood on the passenger side, we want to go ahead and get to the 3 nuts securing the strut to the upper strut tower. In order to get to the back and the side one here, it's going to be best if we can go ahead and remove the wiper cowl or at least lift it up. Let's go ahead and use a pick and work our way under these clips and pull these clips off. And work our way down. Now there's a windshield seal that comes down to the cowl. There's just a little tab right here. We're going to use a pick and gently work that up and out. That will allow us to get up underneath here. Now what we did was we put the key in the on position, we put the wipers on, and we shut the ignition off with our wipers in the upward position. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pop these rubber caps off, and that's going to expose our nut securing the wiper arm to the transmission shaft. We want to mark these so that when we go to reinstall them, they line back up. We're going to do this on both arms. It doesn't matter where you mark them, as long as the line itself lines back up. I'm just going to put a little L, R. Using a 15mm socket, we're going to go ahead and remove our wiper arm nuts. With the wiper arms gone, we can go ahead and slide this off. Next, we have to go ahead and remove this upper plastic tray in order to access the nut way in the back. So what we have to do is remove the headlamps because this plastic base has a bolt underneath here that we need to get access to. Using a T30 Torx bit, remove the headlamp screws. Repeat for both sides. We need to get to this 10mm nut inside. With the 3 bolts removed from the headlamp, you basically want to lift straight up. This tab on the back of the headlamp has a pin in it. You go ahead and use a small pry tool if you want. Just gently pry upward. You can lift up on the tail end of the lamp. That'll give you enough access to get in there to loosen that bolt. Let's go ahead and remove this bolt. On the back side of the tray, there's another 10mm bolt right here. Remove this. On the driver's side, base cowl tab, right under the wiper transmission. Remove this 10mm. Pull that bolt out. And we have a hose right here attached to this cowl here. So just undo the clip, pop the hose out, and that should loosen up the lower cowl here. Just need to work this around the headlamp. Go go ahead and separate that from the vehicle, set it aside. Now we have access to the top of the strut. You're going to use a 15 millimeter deep socket to go ahead and remove these 3 nuts. Let's go ahead and do so. Just go ahead and remove all 3 of these. Now we have our ABS wire right here. I'm going to go ahead and pull that off. Going to use our pry tool, and there's a little retainer clip right here. It's just going to get underneath and pry this off of the strut itself. And just set that aside. On the forward side, there's a 10 millimeter bolt going through the strut bracket, holding our front brake flex line here. Let's go ahead and loosen and remove that bolt. Using an 18 millimeter socket and a 15 millimeter wrench, let's go ahead and remove the nuts on the struts. Using a 15 millimeter socket, we're going to go ahead and remove our sway bar end link nut. I'm going to go ahead and use our hammer to go ahead and tap this out of the strut. Now that we have the nuts removed, let's go ahead and slide out the upper bolt. Want to be cautious. Pay attention to the knuckle here with the brake caliper. We'll lift this up, work our lower bolt out. Work this out. Should be able to grab that strut, lower it down, and back up and out. All right, let's go ahead and feed our strut into place. And feed this upward. What we're going to try and do is line our strut up into the body. Now that we temporarily install the 3 nuts up top to capture the strut and hold it in place, we now go ahead and manipulate the knuckle to line up with the strut itself. Go ahead and pull this up. Work our bolts in. Let's go ahead and get those 2 nuts installed on the strut bolts. Let's go ahead and get these 2 bolts and nuts snug down. I'm going to install our ABS line. I'm going to go ahead and install our flex line bolt right here. Now we did clean it up and we put a little bit of anti-seize compound on the threads for this here. Let's go ahead and snug that down. Now on top here, we're going to go ahead and tighten down the 13 millimeter nuts on the upper portion of our struts. I'm going to go ahead and torque the upper strut nuts to 22 foot-pounds. Then you want to go ahead and torque these down to 59 foot-pounds. If you're using new bolts, it's 59 foot-pounds plus 90 degrees. Let's go ahead and feed our upper link into our strut mount. Feed that through, and we'll go ahead and get our nut installed. Just going to get that threaded on a few threads. Let's go ahead and snug that down. Let's go ahead and tighten up our upper sway bar and link nut. Let's now go ahead and torque the upper sway bar end link to 41 foot-pounds. So now go ahead and get our wheel installed. We'll go ahead and get our lug nuts started by hand. Once we get all these installed, we'll go ahead and snug them down. Let's go ahead and torque the lug nuts down to 100 foot-pounds. Let's go ahead and install our upper cowl here. Get our hose back into our retainer, line that up, and just pop that clip on. I'm going to install our rear inner cowl bolt. Now we'll install our bolt underneath our headlamp here. Go ahead and snug that down. Now go ahead and repeat for the other side. Now what we want to do is line up our headlights, get these lined up over here, and we have our mounting tab that should pop back into that body slot. Now we're going to install our 3 anchoring bolts. Get all 3 of these started. Once we have all 3 started, we'll go ahead and snug those down, and then we'll repeat for the other side. Going to install our wiper cowl. Once that's pushed up, I'm going to go ahead and line this up. Work our way all the way around. Now you want to connect our windshield seal to the cowl seal. This had that little tab on it, so just line that up, push it down inside. Repeat for the passenger side. Now I want to go ahead and install our security clips, holding the upper cowl to the lower cowl. We're going to continue with these right across the front. Now I'm going to install our wiper blades. This is the right hand side. Yellow mark, yellow mark. Let's go ahead and get our nuts installed here. We'll install the other wiper arm and then we'll tighten these down. I'm going to go ahead and torque the wiper nuts down to 11 foot-pounds. Go ahead and install the rubber boots. Using a little bit of solvent, you can go ahead and wipe off your markings. Once you have the windshield wipers anchored, you can now turn the key to the on position and let those wipers come back to their neutral position.